We close our eyes when we meditate because the real problem is inside. How the mind filters things, how it fashions things. As the Buddha pointed out, our experience in the present moment is partly the result of past actions and partly the result of what we're doing right now. And as you discovered, if you get really skillful about what you're doing right now, and regardless of what's coming from the past, you don't have to suffer. So focus on what you're doing right now. There are basically three types of things. There's what's called bodily fabrication, the way you breathe; verbal fabrication, the way you talk to yourself; and mental fabrication, feelings and perceptions, feelings of pain, pleasure, neither pleasure nor pain. And perceptions are the labels you put on things. As the Ajahns point out, perceptions are usually the big problem. Label something in a way that makes us miserable. Or you can change the label. The other label, second label, may be just as true, but it's a different effect on the mind. The Buddha is interested in these labels, not only for the extent to which they can be true in describing things, but also the effect that they have on the mind. So you want labels that are true and beneficial, that describe well and then perform. So as you're thinking about the breath, what image do you have in the mind that tells you what's breath and what's not breath, how the breath works in the body, how the body and the breath interact? See if you can change those labels around and get something better going here in the present moment. Concentration, as the Buddha said, is a perception attainment. So it's going to depend on those labels. Think of the breath as the energy flowing through the body. Think of your body being like a big sponge with holes all around where the breath can come in and go out with no problem. And also remember that the breath is actually the energy in the body. Not so much the air coming in and out the nose, but it's the energy flow in the body. Hold those perceptions in mind and see what happens. You can breathe with a sense of ease, a sense of well-being. You focus just at the nose, just at the air passing by the nose. There's not much in terms of comfort or discomfort. But if you're thinking about the flow of energy in the body, there's a lot you can do. So these are perceptions that open things up. And you can ask yourself, where in the body does that energy flow originate? One spot, two spots, many spots? Again, look at your perceptions. See what impact they have. Because you can perceive it as starting at one spot, and just as easily, just as truthfully perceive it as starting with every cell in the body. The question is, which perception is more calming, which perception is more soothing, both for the breath and for the mind. When we talk about adjusting the breath, you don't have to push it or pull it or squeeze it. Just think. Longer breath, shorter breath, faster, slower. And the power of that perception will change things. So see what changes you can make. So as you're sitting here quietly, you find that you can create a sense of well-being just sitting here breathing. There was that comedian one time who was commenting on Buddhism. He said, what do you do? Wrap yourself up in a cloth, sit under a tree and breathe? Exactly, that's what we're doing. But we're breathing with skill. We're developing skillful qualities in the mind. As you get more sensitive to the breath, you also begin to get more sensitive to the power of the mind here in the present moment. And that's where the real problem is. But before you tackle that problem, learn how to use these perceptions, use these fabrications, as the Buddha calls them, in a way that allows you to settle down. Because when the mind is settled down, that's when it can do its work.